Hi guys, Drew's here. I am filming video number 2 today. So today I'm here with my July wrap up, and for the month of July, it was a really great month. I read 17 books this month. I have my notebook right here in front of me, so I'll be looking down at my notebook. One book I have read, I have read the first book that I'm going to show you, but I'm replacing it for the sequel. I'm going to go over my reading stats for the month. So for July, I had 0 1 star, 0 2 stars, 2 3 stars, 9 4 stars, 5 5 stars. I read 1 arc, which means it's an advanced copy reader. I read 2 book of the month picks. I've buddy read 4 of these books, and I had 13 of these were audio. 3 of these were graphic novels, 4 of them were library books, 1 completed series, 3 physical arcs, and 2 physical reads, and 2 Owl Crate books. I'm really happy and pleased with what I read, and then my page count for the month of July was 5,396 pages. My biggest book of the month was Everglades by Shannon Messenger. I know this is the first book of The Keeper of Lost City, but I borrowed book 2 and 3 from my public library. I only own book 1, so I'm holding this in as a placement for book 3. I read Everglades very quickly. I read it like the first 2 days of July, and I loved it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It was one of my favorite reads of the month. This whole series followed our main protagonist, Sophie, and in this first book, Keeper of the Lost City, she is a 12-year-old girl, and she grows up with each and every book. I believe there are 9 books coming soon, 9 or 8 books. So I'm really happy that I'm enjoying this series so far. I'm only on book 4 right now, so hopefully book 4, I can read that in the month of August, which I forgot to mention in my August TBR. But hoping to read book 4. I really enjoyed Everglades. I can't really talk much about Everglades because it is a sequel, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys. So just know that I read Everglades, and I give 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read in the month of July, and I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but I think I've already had, but I read 17 books in the month of July, so that's very good. The next book I read in July was Lucky Caller by Emma Mills. This is Emma Mills' newest novel, and I read this in like 2 or 3 days as well. This is a young adult contemporary novel, and this follows our main character, Nina, and she is in this podcasting class. And if you know me, I love books about podcasting. I never done podcasting myself, but like I just love reading topics about podcasting elements. So this had a podcasting element. This also had a divorced family. So I don't know if I would consider that a trigger warning or not, but I really enjoyed this. It's my second novel by Emma Mills, I think I read. Oh no, it's my third. It's my third novel I read by Emma Mills, and I really enjoyed it. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. So really great read, and I can't wait to read more from Emma Mills. So the next book I read in the month of July, my friend Tiffany got me this book for my birthday in the month of June, and I just finally read this in July, and that is Shuri, a Black Panther novel by Nick Stone. This is the first book in a new middle grade series that Nick Stone is writing. I just heard that book 2 was revealed, and there's an awesome cover. I'll try and leave the Goodreads link to the cover reveal down below. I read this in like 2 or 3 days as well. Usually with like shorter books, I use them in a couple of days. But like the longer books, it would take me a couple of days to read them. So thank you, Tiffany, so much for buying me this book for my birthday. I really enjoyed this. I give this 3.5 out of 5 stars, maybe a 4 stars. There was a lot of cameos from people we've seen, like Captain America. Shuri is also related to she's the sister to the Black Panther, so we follow mostly her, and it was really great to be back in this world because I really miss watching the movie, and so I really enjoyed this. 3.5 out of 5 stars or a 4 stars. So I'm really excited to read the sequel when it comes out next year, and thank you again, Tiffany. The next 3 books are my 3 graphic novels that I read this month. I reread the first 2 volumes in order to read book 3. So we have The Steel Prince by V.E. Schwab, Volume 1. Then we have The Steel Prince, Volume 2. And then I have The Steel Prince, Volume 3, The Rebel Army. And this one is called Knights of Knives. I read all 3 of these back to back. I actually pre-ordered this 3rd graphic novel, this 3rd installment, at the end of July, or at the end of June, because I ordered it for my birthday, and it came on the day of the release, and I read it as soon as it came in the mail, and I really enjoyed this. So this one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I reread the sequel, and I gave it I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read the 3rd book, and I gave the 3rd book a 5 out of 5 stars. Now, this graphic novel series is part of the Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab, and I love Victoria Schwab. This is going to be out of order, but I love Victoria Schwab. She's one of my favorite authors. This is a prequel. I think this is either a prequel or like an after series of what happens. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. But these are my 3 graphic novels that I mentioned earlier in the video, and I'm very happy that I was able to complete this series, and I'm sad that this series is over. Now the next couple of books, the next 2 books plus these 3. So I read these 3 for cramathon, which happened in the month of July. I participated in cramathon very last minute, so there's that. So I read all 3 of these for cramathon, and then I also read A Phoenix First Must Burn by Patrice Cadwell. I read this for cramathon as well. This one I really enjoyed. This one I would give a 3.5, maybe 4 stars as well. This is a collection of 12 short stories, all by person of color, written by authors who are a person of color. 16 stories of black girl magic, resistance, and hope. I really enjoyed this one. I will give like a mini review of this on my channel soon. I'll probably do one just because I love reading anthologies. So this is definitely one of my newer favorite anthologies, and I really enjoyed it. A couple of my favorites from this anthologies, I'll give you my 5-star picks real quick. I like the one from Elizabeth Acevedo. I like the one from Simonia Dodd, L.L. McKinney, and Ashley Woodfolk. I love those ones. So really enjoy all the others, but those were like my 5-star short stories. So, and then the next book I read was my final book I read for cramathon, and that was Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kimwan Mabala. This is part of the Rick Riordan Presents imprint. This came out in October last year, and I got it at Target, which is why you see this gross sticker right here. This one was so much fun to read. This is a first book in a middle grade series, and the sequel comes out in October, so I only got a couple more months to wait. I'm filming this on August 6th, so I have like 2 more months to wait for the sequel. So when the sequel does come out, I will be buying this. So Tristan Strong is our main protagonist. He's 11-year-old in this middle grade novel, and he's dealing with grief, and the way that this author dealt with grief was really, really good. You not only get to see him recover from the grief, because in the very beginning of this, or not in the very beginning, like even before this book started, Tristan loses one of his best friends, and so there's this journal that his best friend left for him, and he goes on this mythology, I guess, type of adventure, and I just really overall enjoyed it, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I will definitely be checking out the sequel when that comes out. The next book I read, I actually buddy read with my friend Heather, so I read Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the sequel to Aurora Rising by them. I read Aurora Rising back in April, and I wanted to read this sequel because I bought this in June. This hasn't been in any videos of mine yet, so this is the first time you guys are seeing this. I give this one 5 out of 5 stars. It was such a fantastic sequel. I really enjoyed it. Again, I won't talk much about this one because it is a sequel and I don't want to spoil you guys of what happened. But if you guys read this book and knows what happens at the end of this book, please comment down below so I can talk to someone about this series. I'm so sad that we have to wait a whole year for the 3rd book to come out, but there's no title yet, no release date yet, but whenever there is, I will be excited for it. And thank you, Heather, for the buddy read. Another buddy read I did with my friend Heather was Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. This is one of my Allocrate books that I got this year. I got this back in January, and I think I put this in my January book haul, so I'll try and leave that up above. I really enjoyed this one as well. I gave it a 4 stars, and this is a first book in a trilogy, I think, or maybe a duology. I'm not too sure. Book 2 comes out in March of next year, so it's really hard to explain this one because this is kind of like a complicated story, but this is a Count of Monte Cristo revenge story. It's a retelling of Count of Monte Cristo. There's nothing quite like a good revenge story, is there? This book is much is an inspiration to the Count of Monte Cristo and all about revenge. When everything is taken from you, what option left is there to go after? So this sounded very good. I'm so happy I got this from Allocrate. So thank you so much, Allocrate, for putting this in your box. I will definitely be checking out the sequel. And then I feel like I missed a couple books. Yeah, I did. The next book I read was Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I talked about this book in my August TBR. I read this book this month and I really enjoyed it. This was my one and only arc that I actually got to. So I read Burn Our Body Down. I actually listened to the audiobook for this one, so it was very interesting to listen to because it was a YA mystery thriller book. So I love reading those thrillers. You know, you guys know I've been getting into my thrillers. I gave Burn Our Body Down a 5 out of 5 stars. And then the next book that I've read was All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This one was such a good LGBT rep. It's a memoir. I don't own this one because I listened to it from my Hoopla. And this one is an own voices novel for the LGBT rep and for a person of color. This was just like so good and also hard to listen to. Just because of the subject of this book, and I can't really talk about it that much because I don't remember the summary of it, but it was just really good. Its own voices, and if you want a new memoir to read, it's also narrated by George M. Johnson, so there's that. I gave All Boys Aren't Blue a 5 out of 5 stars as well. And then the next book I read after All Boys Aren't Blue was Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I finally read this book, you guys. I read this book this month and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I picked this up as soon as my friend Emily, who I'll leave her Instagram down below. She's almost at 500 followers, so go give her a follow. I read this because of my friend Emily. She read this in July as well and she gave it 5 stars. I gave it a 4 stars because it wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I was like, why did it take me so long to read this book? And spoiler alert, I would have the sequel to this on my Tome Topple TBR. So really enjoyed this. 4 out of 5 stars. And yeah, it was a really great read. The next book I read I don't own because I borrowed it from the library, and that was The Hannah Wars. I forgot who the author of this was, I'm sorry, but I gave that one a 4 out of 5. That was my first book I read for the Reading Rush. And then the next book I read for the Reading Rush was The Shadows by Alex North. I talked about this in my August TBR as well. I really enjoyed this one. This is a new adult mystery thriller novel, and I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. This also has LGBT rep in here, so really enjoyed this one and definitely loved this one. But I still love Home Before Dark, so I'll talk more about that book in my June wrap-up. And then the next book I read was Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is another adult mystery thriller, but I would say this is more on the lighter side than what than what The Shadows was. So this is more on the lighter side of adult mystery thrillers, but I really enjoyed this. The only thing that confused me a little bit about this book, so this book has time traveling aspects in here. So I read this for the reading rush because this was for the challenge of to read a book in a genre you want to read more of, and this is a genre I wanted to read more of. So I give this one a 3.5, maybe. I give this one a 3.5. So it wasn't my favorite book by him, but I am hoping to check out other books that he has. So this is the second to last book I read, and then the last book I read for the reading rush was Little Universes by Heather Demetrios. I buddy read this one with my friend Emily, who I talked about when I was talking about Ace of Shades. I really enjoyed this one. There's trigger warnings in Little Universes by Heather Demetrio. Trigger warning for drugs and alcohol abuse and running and death of a family member. I won't say much about it, but yeah, this book is all about a death of a family member getting drowned in the ocean with this huge tsunami. And so it's just the two sisters going through the death of both of their parents. And so it's a really hard-hitting novel, but I'm really happy I enjoyed it. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, there you have it. Those were all the books I read in the month of July, all 17 books. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys love my content and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you hit the subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you have a great day and night. If you read any of these books and you want to talk about them more with me, leave them in the comments below and we'll chat down there. Bye.